Today we're going to talk about creating an English environment. So, we live in Taiwan. There's a lot of Chinese around us. You probably speak to your family in Chinese, a lot of your friends in Chinese. And also, the media around us is usually in Chinese. You kind of have to seek out English stuff. And that can be tricky to know the right way to find something that you think is interesting. Okay? And so I'm going to give you some ideas of how you can find stuff and what you can find. Okay? So let's just take a look step by step at what you can do to surround yourself with English a little bit more. Now, there are a few different steps that you can take that can make everything easier for you when you're looking for something in English. If you just go on YouTube or go on Google and search something, a lot of times the results will be in Chinese. Even if you search the name of a movie in English, the results might be from Taiwanese YouTubers. Or if you go on Google and search news in English, there might be news in Chinese that's popping up. So there are a few things we can do that we can change some settings to help you to stick to English. And these are things that you don't need to do this all the time. Like, you don't have to keep Google in English forever. You can turn it on and turn it off. So only when you find it useful. So, number one, we can talk about how to search Google in English. If you just search news, it'll come up in Chinese. So how do we change that to English? Next, one thing you can do is turn YouTube to English. So use YouTube in English. Then you're just using English just for reading and seeing the labels and stuff. That is a good way to get you practicing reading passively. You're not trying to force yourself to read a lot, but that's a good strategy. Another thing, if you search or if you're looking for things, if you keep your settings the same way, you're going to get a lot of Taiwanese YouTubers. Even if you search like, oh, hamburgers, it might be a Taiwanese person speaking Chinese teaching you about burgers. So what you can do, set YouTube to the United States. So set your location to US, and then you'll get recommendations that are from the US. So more natural, native English content. And then, so these are some basic things you can do. And then 4, you need to identify your interests. So figure out what you actually like and what you actually want to learn about. Oh, one second. Hi, from Canis. Hi, Kyle. Good evening. I'm happy to hear you'll continue the schedule. It's also been my routine every Thursday. Well, great. Thank you for joining. I appreciate if you enjoy what I'm doing. So thank you again. Yeah, we're going to continue the schedule for the fall. What is it called? The fall guided learning program. And then, anyways, the next few weeks, I'll make sure to do a little stream on Thursday too. I think it's good for my brain too. Get me to focus on something on a Thursday. So, back to what I was saying. So switch things into English. That's a strategy. Set YouTube to United States. So then you end up seeing what's popular in the US. And then identify your interests. Figure out what you actually care about, what you like. And then use Wikipedia to find English names of things. And that will help you if you're looking for things, if you're searching. Okay? So let's go piece by piece and look at some things that we can do. First, search Google in English. Let's say you decide I'm going to practice English. I'm going to read some English news, and you just search news. A lot of times it'll come up in Chinese. You search English, the results are all in Chinese. What the heck? Now there are 2 options. There's I get this box. I don't know if you see that, but it says looking for results in English, and then you can click change to English. And that's one way to do it. It doesn't have to just be the word news. If you search anything, you could click that and you'll get more native English content. Another way to do it is click this gear, the settings, and then go to languages, change that to English United States. Or if you like British English, English UK. But if you change this setting in the gear, that will make it stick. And so that will make it so your results are more English. And so this is an easy way to just make sure that you're seeing content from the English speaking world. If you're always searching and it always comes up Chinese, but you're okay with English or Chinese, if you set it to English, if you set it to English, then you'll get more results that might help you out. And you can passively learn. If you're getting tired, you can always switch it back to Chinese, right? And one thing about doing this, you don't have to do it all the time. Even if you do it 5 minutes every day, then that could be helpful, right? So next up is use YouTube in English. If your YouTube is covered in Chinese, that's okay. Your recommendations will not be really affected by anything, but you can change the language of YouTube into English just so all these buttons are in English and you can practice a little bit. It's not going to be a lot of practice, but having English like on your screen all the time can help you get used to some of the words. And yeah, you'll get it really quick. Maybe at the beginning it's confusing, but you'll figure it out. One other thing is this blue thing, your location. The default for you and me is Taiwan because it sets your YouTube to be where you are. So what you can do, if you click that, it'll bring up this thing. And then here, you can change your location from Taiwan and change it to United States. You click Taiwan and then find United States. Now, why would you do this? The recommendations on your home page, so if you're on home, it's going to be the same stuff. They're trying to show you what they think you'll like. But if you go to Explore, if you click Explore when your location is Taiwan, it's going to be Chinese language videos or YouTubers in Taiwan, and you're going to see what's popular here in Taiwan. But your mission right now is to practice English, right? And so the best way to practice English is watch or listen to what is popular in English-speaking countries. If you find English videos from Taiwan, a lot of times it's people teaching you English. Those are good. I mean, I do them. But you want native content too. You want content that is not made for people learning English. You want content made for Americans. So if you set YouTube to the United States, you can use these buttons in Explore to find some interesting stuff. So click trending will show you what's the most popular stuff in America right now. Well, today it's a Pokemon and a song by Drake. But you can click around this trending page, this Explore page, and see what's popular in the US. This is a good way to find videos that are maybe not popular in Taiwan yet, or something that you don't expect to like, okay? So don't just change the language to English, change the location to United States. I've recommended this to another student before. If you have trouble with a certain accent, like if you have to work with people from Ireland, you might be able to change the location of Ireland. Or if you work with people from India and their accent is difficult for you, you can change the location to India. And the same thing, go to trending videos and watch some videos, practice listening to different accents. Okay? So I would say if you want to practice American English, set it to United States. But there's so many choices, right? Okay. What else can you do? Next up, you can identify your interests. So you can always go to this kind of page on YouTube and just click around and find random stuff. And that's good if you don't really know what you're looking for. So yeah, if you just don't know, go to this trending page. Otherwise, figure out what you like. And then you can slowly go from big ideas down to smaller ideas. Okay? So let's talk about a few different ways to talk about each of these. News, books, movies, music, cooking, sports, tech, and games. Tech being technology. Now, I'm going to give you a couple pointers, pieces of advice for each of these, and how you could look for stuff related to this. Okay? So, let's start with news. I follow the news. I don't like following the news because it makes me sad, but I feel like it's important. And so maybe you enjoy following the news. Like we said before, if you search the word news in Chinese, if you search the word news, but Google is in Chinese, it will end up looking like this, right? Google Xinwen, Yahoo Xinwen, but that's not what you want. Once you set it to English, if you change it to English, then you get a bunch of news stories, top stories, right? And I would recommend to you just try focusing on understanding the headlines, okay? If sometimes news articles can be really, really long and it gets overwhelming. So just stick to the headlines. And like we said before, you want to try to do this stuff every day. So just spend 5 minutes reading some headlines. Try to understand what it's talking about. You don't need to get deep into it because you might run out of energy. Okay? So start with doing something for like 5 minutes and maybe you'll be able to keep going. If not, that's okay. Okay? And so another idea is you can go to YouTube. Like I said before, if we set YouTube to the United States and then you click Explore, there was a button that said News, and then you get news from the United States. If you do Explore News and your location is Taiwan, you get a lot of Taiwanese news. If you change it to United States, then you start getting MSNBC, you get Bloomberg, you get all kinds of stuff. American news, okay? Some of the stuff maybe you don't care about because it's very specific to the United States, but it's a start, right? Now, another thing you could do if you like the news, I like the New York Times. And the New York Times, the article, like I said before, the articles can be very long. So just focus on the front page. Here's a headline. Here's a subheading. And that's kind of enough, I think, for you guys. Just read some of the stuff on the front page. Sometimes the New York Times will have a lot of US news, so you can click one of these buttons at the top, like World for World News. Or if you are interested in business, go to business, or sports, or books, whatever. I strongly recommend the New York Times, and you don't need to read a full article. Try to read the headlines and the subheadings, okay? Now, what else? Oh, last thing about news. I think I've told you before that Reddit is a really good website for learning about anything, right? And so I would recommend going to Reddit because you can find anything on Reddit, any topic. And so you can go to the website Reddit. You could search on Google Reddit news, Or you can go to reddit.com/r/news. So for Reddit, you can put this address, reddit.com/r/anything. You can put anything after that. And you will find a category just for that topic. So reddit/r/news is general news. If you go to /world news, you find a section focused on the whole world. If you go to Reddit Taiwan, you get a section focused on Taiwan. And so you can find news, and you can see these numbers. The numbers show how popular they are. Okay? And also, a lot of people discuss things on here. So you could go to the comments and see what people say about what's happening in the world. Be careful about the comments. Some of it is ridiculous and stupid. So be careful, okay? Let's see. So that's news. You can jump around, just generally search news, read the headlines, or go to Reddit and see what people are saying, okay? But don't do too much news. It'll make you crazy. You'll get depressed, okay? So how about another topic? What if you want to search for movies? You're interested in movies, but you don't know what to search. Like we said before, if Google is in English, that's a good start. You could search anything. You could search movies or upcoming movies, meaning movies that are coming soon, okay? And then you can take a look at here. You can look at some articles, and maybe you scroll down a bit and find interesting articles like this. Upcoming movies, the most exciting new films coming in 2022 and beyond. And this kind of thing is interesting. This is just like you scroll down a little bit, and I found this article. And they describe it briefly, each new movie. And I think those little summaries or previews are a good way to practice your reading. Okay? Now, what about if you like a specific movie? If you're interested in something specific. So like we said before, if you don't know what to look for, just search for general stuff, right? But if you're interested in one particular thing, how do you find it? How do you look for it in English? If you search the name of this movie in Chinese on YouTube, all the results will be Chinese language. So what do? Well, sometimes the name will be here in English. But if not, you can scroll down, and then on the left side, you'll find this, the language section. Change the English, and then boom, we get the page in English with Top Gun Maverick. And what you can do, try reading a little bit about it, practice your reading, or find a person, an actor you find interesting. So, I like this movie, I think it was cool, and John Hamm, he's a very cool guy. I've seen him in other movies. So then you can go to YouTube, search Top Gun Maverick, John Hamm, and suddenly you have some interesting things to try to watch. Here's an interview from a late night show where he's talking about acting in that movie. So that's one strategy you can take. Find the English name of something you like. Find another piece of information to connect to it, and then search it on YouTube. Find some interesting conversations or interviews, okay? Okay, so that's for movies. Next up is books. So I know a lot of you like books. You might try to read a novel in English or read a short story in English, and that's great, but that's really hard. So some of you might think, I'm not going to read a book in English, but I like books. If this is your interest, you can focus on like people talking about books, right? If you don't want to read a big, thick novel in English, try finding out about new books in English, okay? And then you could find the real book in Chinese if it's too much to read a novel in English. So Goodreads is a popular website for finding books. So you could discover new books to try. And if you scroll down on Goodreads, they have a bunch of lists. So you could look at their lists of like the best crime and mystery books. And just look at that. And each one will probably have a little paragraph telling about the book. So that's some good reading practice, right? And then you could try reading it in English, or if that's too much, just find it in Chinese, whatever. Remember that even doing a little bit in English will help you, okay? What else? Like we said before, going on YouTube is a great idea. If you just search book review, then you'll get all kinds of stuff. So 1 month, 12 book reviews, July wrap up. And then 12 great books that will get you out of a reading slump. A reading slump means you don't know what you want to read. You're stuck. You're in trouble. So you could find these kinds of things where people are talking about books instead of just trying to read a whole novel, right? And like I said, every little bit helps. Okay? So what else do we have? Another thing, like I said before, you can go on Reddit for anything. We said about the news, you can find Reddit books, or there's Reddit literature, all kinds of stuff. And here you can find discussions about books, some news about the Boston Public Library, but then like the Our Books Book Club selection. So discussions in 158 comments talking about books and the books people are reading. So it doesn't have to be read a book in English. You could read about books in English. Okay? Next up is music. So if you like music, just search something like best new music. Change the words around. Hip hop songs, August 2022, whatever. And then you'll find websites like Pitchfork where you can learn about what is popular now. And like I said before, I was searching in Chinese and it still worked. We got Pitchfork. And so if you set it to English, you might get even better results. But Pitchfork is a popular website about music recommendations. Okay? And then what else can we do? Like I said before, if you want discussion about this stuff, going to Reddit is good. If you don't know which Reddit to go to, you can search Reddit music and you'll get our music. There's another one called Listen to This. Let's see. Bring it to the front. Listen to This, where people recommend music they like. Okay? And then, of course, if you really like music and you want to learn music, you could search things like guitar tutorial, piano lesson. If you're deeper into making music, you could search about music theory or music writing or song structure, all kinds of stuff, or rare instruments. Search anything, right? And because we have our thing set in English and set to United States, you're going to get stuff that is made for native speakers. Okay? Let's see. One more thing about music. Find artists that you like. This guy is Charlie Puth. Oh, what was I going to do? Before we get to him, let's say you like this singer. You've heard of CP Charlie. Is that really what people call him? I've never heard his Chinese name. But you like this singer. You've heard some of his songs. Again, just showing you live, you can find him on Wikipedia. You can scroll down here, change to English, and then there you go, his English name, Charlie Puth. And then what you can do, find him on Instagram or something. And this is a good way to practice. Find people that you're interested in. Find people you like. And then you can let's see, make sure I'm not going to play his actuals. If you find people you like or you're interested in on Instagram, you can watch their videos. Oh, I have my sound on. And so Charlie, he does a lot of videos where he's talking and telling you about how he makes music. And so this would be good for you guys to hear how they speak and what they're talking about. Okay? So just find people that you're interested in and see what they're creating and what they're talking about. Okay. Cooking. Let's say you like cooking. You want to make something. And you could look up, 卤肉饭食谱, right? You could search in Chinese, but just switch to English. Do it again. Say, I'm going to do this anyways. Why not do it in English? So what you can do again, go on Wikipedia, find the food you want, switch to English with that button down here, and then we get a name. So sometimes this can be tricky, but the name on Wikipedia is Lo Ba Beng, which is pretty good, the Taiwanese name. And then there's an alternate name, minced pork rice. And then sometimes people use the pinyin and call it lu rou fan. And so you could search all three of those. So if you're not sure of the English name, try multiple things. So if you search Lo Ba Beng, you get this video for munchies. If you search minced pork rice, you can find this one. And so if it's food that's specific to Taiwan, it might be a little bit harder to find native English speakers talking about it, but you can if you just try different things. So, okay, one name, this is actually probably the best result, but maybe you search minced pork rice. And it's like, there's not many native English speakers making videos. But then you try a different one, you get this one for munchies, okay? Another thing to do, if you're searching for something specific, you could look for it on Reddit too. If you search Reddit, 卤肉饭, in pinyin, you get this post from Reddit recipes. And then you click that, you get a discussion about food and Taiwanese food. It's pretty cool. So if you're searching Reddit, it doesn't have to be general, like Reddit news, Reddit movies. You can do something very specific too. Okay? And then if you search for something that's like American food, if your YouTube is set to English or United States and you search American food, you're going to get a lot of content. If you search something for Taiwan, there might be less choices, but you'll find some good stuff. If you search something like ultimate burger recipe, you're going to find tons of great videos or interesting videos, like the classic smash burger. Okay? What else do we have? Another good thing is sports. Oh, what else did I have? Give me 1 second. Let me hide things so I can review what I was going to show you guys. Okay, well, keep going. So one other good thing is if you like sports. So we talked about movies, music, game, cooking, the news. What about someone who likes sports? I personally don't really care a lot about sports. I used to like American football. Now I don't really care. But recently I've started following Formula One a little bit, which is car racing, because I watched that Netflix show and it was fun. I don't care a lot about the races, but I think it's interesting with the people and their personalities and some of the drama. It's pretty interesting. And so if you find a sport you like, what you can do, find videos about them. Like, here's a tech talk, how to cool an F1 car. So just videos where they're discussing the thing you like, right? And then one other thing you can do, just like the music, find people that you find interesting. There's this driver, I think he is kind of funny and charming. You can find him on Instagram or something like that. And a lot of times these people will put videos where they talk to the camera and tell about their lives. So you can like go to the McLaren sports car team, and then of course you can read the comments, but then they'll have videos where the drivers are talking to the camera, and a lot of times they'll have the words written on it to help people listening. And so that's a great way to practice what you like, right? So don't just search the thing you like, search for the people involved in it, right? And if you find Danny Rick, you get to see some funny videos where he's talking about racing and stuff, okay? What about tech? If you're not really sure what to look for, keep it simple. Search for something like phone review. Find the best smartphones of 2022. Or a review of a Galaxy S22. Or if there's something specific you're interested in, search for the name of that device, Pixel 6 review. And if, like we said before, if you're set to English, location United States, you're going to get really good results. This guy, Marques Brownlee, makes awesome videos about tech. Another thing is, just on Google, like we said before, if you're set to English, you're going to get good results. Search tech news, and then here are 3 great websites discussing technology. Or, again, you could search Reddit tech, and then you can find Our Technology or Our Tech, where people will post all kinds of things like news and stories and have discussions about technology. Okay? So another example of if you don't really know what to focus on, you can just generally search if your YouTube and Google are set to English and United States, right? And then last but not least is gaming. If you're into a specific video game, like we said before, identify your interest. If you know you like movies, that's kind of tricky to search for. If you like one movie, makes it easier to find cool videos. Same thing with gaming. If you like video games, if you just search video game on YouTube, you're not going to get good results. But if you have a specific game you like, you can focus on that and find good stuff. So if you find this game, this is really popular now, sometimes the name will be on the Wikipedia page, but if you change the English, bam, there you go. You have the name you should be searching for. And so you can search for Elden Ring, which is a popular game right now. And you can search for lots of stuff. If it's about a game, if you just search the name, you might not get something with a lot of talking. Maybe you'll just get a preview or a trailer. But if you search Elden Ring tips or Elden Ring guide, it might give you advice and talk about the game and how it works. And then because you already know a little bit about the game, it'll be easier to understand the English. And then again, Reddit, you can Reddit and then the name of the game, Reddit Elden Ring, and you'll find a section of Reddit devoted just to that one thing you like. So all of these things together, I think this is basically the flow of what you can do. Find the name in English of something that you're interested in, search for it, and then search for it on Reddit as well. Okay? So let's see. Yeah, let's just review a little bit before we go. So there's these guys. What do we have over here? Yeah, here's another example. Maybe you've heard about this. You don't really know much about it, but you've heard about this game. It's like, okay, what's the best name in English? Click on English. Okay, Monster Hunter Rise. And then we go to YouTube and then just do Monster Hunter Rise. And then you get all these videos about it, teaching you about it. And because you set your language to English and your location to United States, then you're going to get lots of good stuff. So these are the main ideas. Like we said before, try changing Google to English, and then change YouTube to English, and then change YouTube location to United States, and then you can check explore, and all of your searches will give you stuff that is more helpful for you. So this is the big thing, I think, changing your location from Taiwan to the United States. That way you'll get way more stuff, and you'll be able to discover more stuff that is aimed at native English speakers. And this page right here, this Explore page, is a great resource for you guys to find things to look at, things to check out. And basically the main idea of this is you don't need to spend tons and tons of time doing this stuff, but maybe like a couple minutes a day, or like set time aside. If you're relaxing at home and you're just like scrolling on Instagram, or find a native English speaker. Like, oh, let's see what Charlie Puth has shared recently. Or, oh, let's look at that sports player that I like. Or let's see what that singer or that actor is doing or talking about. Or if you're at home and you're on YouTube, maybe you're scrolling through, I'm watching a video about cooking. Well, change it to English. Change it to United States. You could still do the stuff you like, still focus on your interests, but all you have to do, change your location on these websites to US, change the language to English, and then suddenly you're doing the things you like in English, right? So, long story short, all you have to do is find a few of these different ways to help you find what you want. If you don't know what to do, change your settings and then search general terms. If you know what you're interested in, change your settings, search the name of what you like in English. And as usual, I recommend you guys try Reddit. Just go on Google, type Reddit space whatever you're interested in. Recipes, Reddit space hiking, Reddit space Taiwan, Reddit space traveling, and you'll find a lot of different interesting stuff. It's easy to get into a pattern and just do the same things. Like, oh, I'll go on YouTube and search the thing I like, or watch the same channel I usually like. Or if there's a movie coming out, you search the name in Chinese. That's totally fine, right? This is part of our life. You don't want to be studying all the time. But if you do little things like, instead of looking for a review in Chinese, you look for a review of a movie in English. It's not a lot of work to listen to that. It might be a little bit challenging, but you'll get the main idea, and you end up learning because you're interested in what they're talking about. You want to know what they're saying, so you'll focus more, right? If you're just watching something because it's in English, you're not going to care, right? But if you find something like, oh, they're telling about a movie that's coming out, I want to know what it's about, you'll listen closely, figure out what they're saying, and motivation will help push you and help you get better, right? So yeah, hopefully some of these ideas and some of these tips were helpful. I think definitely try changing the settings on your YouTube and your Google once in a while. Doesn't have to be all the time, but try switching to US on YouTube and see what you can find. Just browse around, and you might find something new and special. Some of that is my ideas of what you guys can do. These are some ways that I've tried to improve Chinese. Use native content. Surround yourself with what Americans would be watching or reading or listening to, right? And yeah, hopefully these things are helpful. They'll help you change the way you think a little bit and give you some opportunities to practice a little more. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Have a good weekend, and stay safe, stay healthy, and take care of yourself. Thank you. Bye-bye.